Hi, and welcome to this live reading from Golden Void by Alexander Charalambides, and this is presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Prologue. Megan. It's cold. I don't like to say I hate anything, but I really hate the cold. I don't want to get up to do anything about it in case the radiator's broken again. Then I'd have to say something about it. I wish the blanket I wound around my neck to droop over the edge of my chair was good enough, but it's not. Maybe it's the light of the laptop screen in front of me, but somehow the cold keeps creeping in. I flick my legs out from under me, keep the blanket as wound as tight around me as I can, and shuffle over to the radiator. It's kind of weird. Breakfast cereal-shaped piece of metal strapped to the wall. I'm used to houses with heating or just being warm. I'm still getting used to the idea of winter, but I think I kind of like this thing even though I can tell it's not working right. Something about the weird lumpy metal shape makes it look sad. Like that thing that looks like a cow but lives underwater. A dugong? Manatee? It's gray, too. The radiator's covered in knobs and temperature gauges and stuff, but it's all metric. I don't know what it means or how it works. It's possible it's not broken at all. It could just be that I'm dumb. Either way, I sort of paw at the knobs, blanket over my hand until it starts to make a steady hissing noise. It always smells of burning, but I don't mind so long as it heats up quick. Like I said, I don't like to complain. I could go back to my chair, but this view is one of the reasons I like it here. My room used to be an attic. I spent a little of the money I've saved since I came to the UK and got adopted and did my best to make it seem homey. I wouldn't change or cover this window for anything, no matter how much money I had. Yeah, it's still a big city, but it's old. There are curtains of warm orange lights skirting the edges of the still blue night, and I can see people too. Some of them are close enough to look back. I used to wave to them, but nobody ever waved back. Kendrick says it's just a cultural difference. The moon is crazy tonight, and the sky's wide open to give it center stage. The clouds are dusting the roofs with a fine coat of fragile snow, but that's not what's crazy about it. The moon's got this funky ring around it, almost like a rainbow. There's got to be a name for that. I almost want to stand here until the room warms up, see if it lasts. Kendrick would know, but she's out working, and she doesn't like me to call her when she's on a job. I have to resist checking the time. If you do it too much, it seems like everything takes forever, but it is getting kind of late. Kendrick tells me not to worry, but I can't help it. Her jobs can be pretty dangerous. She doesn't like to talk about them, but I can tell. Plus, the occasional big wound is kind of a giveaway. Usually she's like, "Oh, no point worrying about me, Ken," and blah, everybody has to die sometime, followed by some Scottish words I don't understand. I know she doesn't like the idea of me sitting here worrying, but she's not very good at handling it. My foot's tapping even as I sit back down, wind the blanket over my head like a hood. I can't stop my leg hopping up and down. She's the reason I'm here. Kendrick's my legal guardian. Actual guardian. My savior in general, I guess. I mean, I cook, sometimes I clean, although she doesn't like that either. She says she doesn't want me to be a servant, but I don't think I can ever make things up to her. She's not perfect, especially when she falls asleep early or forgets to bring back food. She's still a whole lot better than my actual mom. Just thinking about Mom makes me clench my fist under the blanket. My eyes glaze over and I stare past the video playing on my laptop. It's not that I hated her or living with her in the U.S. She wasn't a bad person. She just... I don't know. I did some reading a couple months after I moved here when it felt I was starting to settle in. I wondered if she matched up with some kind of mental illness, but I'm not that smart, so I still don't get her. She would just go, start doing things. She'd wait for ages to do something I told her I needed, but jump straight on the latest craze she read about on the internet. It's like everything I did was always wrong, like I was trying to trick her, and she thought everybody else was on her side. Until they stuck up for me, that is. Just thinking about her brings back jitters way worse than waiting for Kendrick. There's a special cramp you get in your stomach from being hungry and scared, and being scared of being so hungry because you don't know if you'll get any food. All you do know is that if you go out and try to get some on your own, Mom will scream at you. She never actually hurt me. She did grab Lance that one time. I don't do this anymore. I practiced. I count the stuff on my desk, try to refocus my eyes on the distant lights of the city, that sort of thing. The feeling of panic starts to fade, maybe just because I know it will. Sometimes I think about what she's doing now. For the first month, she'd call every day, but I never picked up. Maybe I would have, but Kendrick just pulled the phone out of the wall. Shouldn't have thought about Lance either. A little chuckle sneaks out from between my lips. I guess that's proof that time heals all wounds. He was the only one who stood up to her. I guess I still don't know how I feel about him, even if he was my friend for a long time. My only friend, I guess. I mean, he's dead now, or at least I think he is. Gone in the darkness, that crazy whirlpool of weirdness and noise. Wizards yelling back and forth about stuff they never took the time to explain. Monsters, ghosts, and lots of guys with guns. It's actually hard to remember. It feels like it all took place over the course of a single weird day. If it wasn't for my souvenir, I'd have even less to remember. It's hanging on my wall. If you didn't know better, you'd say it was part of an old stick or something. I guess that's what it is, or was. It's maybe 2 feet long and made of wood. Solid oak, Kendrick said, half of it all burned and splintery. I don't know why I held on to it through all that. Maybe it's because it reminded me of Albrecht. He was one of the wizards who told Lance he was a hero or something. I thought he was the nice one too, although I'm not sure if he really was. Kendrick doesn't talk about him much, and I don't think she cares about me keeping it. Maybe I thought it'd help me learn some actual magic, and maybe I thought that'd help. Maybe I thought it'd be cool. I actually did do magic once, mostly because I was super scared, but I think it helped. I might have saved Lance's life. In the airless warm under the blanket, I can't help but rub the faded red mark on my left hand. It sort of looks like a weird burned egg, and it still tingles sometimes near open flames. I've never done anything like that again. Maybe I wasn't really trying. Don't rock the boat, right? So far, things are pretty good. Mom always said that you should never take what you've got for granted, no matter how little it is. She was right about that, at least. It always makes me think of the crummy burger I munched when I was hiding from her behind the arcade machine. I glanced back at my screen. The video's been over for like 2 whole minutes. I guess it wasn't very good. The floor rumbles. It's probably a car. It's not that weird. We're close to the main road after all, even if Kendrick's shop is in what she calls the shite part of town. I'm not ready to feel relief, but I pull my headphones off to listen, just in case. Fuck! The raspy shout echoes up through the floorboards, cut off by a sad choke where a curse word should be. Only one person sounds like that, so I jump up and rush downstairs. You're back! I shout, nearly tripping down the stairs into the shop as I run. It's fucking cold in here, Kendrick shouts, crouching low to absorb the force of my hug. Her sweater still smells of smoke, but I don't care, and I'm too happy to see her to ask if she's been sneaking cigarettes again. Something go wrong? She asks, looking down at me. Nope. I pull her a little closer for a second, then let her go. Just happy to see you. Radiator broke again? She asks. She drops her heavy carpet bag to the floor and kicks it into the pile of junk behind her big wooden desk. No, you didn't want to turn it on in case it was broken, she asks. We talked about this. I know. I slump my shoulders and breathe out the tension in my stomach. Sorry. No. Kendrick takes me by the shoulders, pulling me upright. Not sorry. Don't apologize. It's the radiator's job to keep us warm, Ken. It's no, your fault it's broken, and all that's going to happen is I'll take some time out to fix it. I've been through this before, and I know she's right. A lot of people would have probably think Kendrick's scary. She does have this intense, wild look in her eyes, but kind of a witchy nose. But she's probably just tired. I'm not going to say sorry again, I tell her as I glance down at the stuff she's gathered. There are layers of plastic bags under her arms. Good. She pats me on the shoulder and pushes some of the old paperwork on her desk aside, and a layer of greasy styrofoam containers hit the floor as she deposits her haul. Did you eat? I said I wasn't going to say sorry, but You were waiting for me, Kendrick sighs. Ever wonder why you're so small? Did you bring anything back? I ask, following her around the desk and through the door to which we use as our living room. Didn't have time. She's trying to hide how tired she is, but she almost falls into her usual seat at her little table. Have a yen for anything special? I was thinking beans, I tell her, rifling through the cupboards above the microwave where all the cans are. I do my best, but I think you'd need an archaeologist to organize some of this stuff and I can't reach super well. I mean, if I'm cold, you must be mega cold. You know I don't feel it. Kendrick's laugh turns into a cough as I grab a can of beans and pull a carton of ravioli from the refrigerator. Don't you have some exam results due today? Yeah, I got them, I say over my shoulder, stirring the beans and hoping the mixture will be better than it looks. I didn't do too bad. Attending your online lectures? There's something funny about the way she's asking, like she expects me to do or say something. I'm not sure what she wants, so I reach out, grab 2 bowls, and prepare to heat the ravioli in the microwave. Yeah. I glance over my shoulder at Kendrick again as she pushes a little wooden box around the table. Still not very good at them. You know, Meg, Kendrick sniffs, I used to be the wallflower at the back of the class. I'd never raise my hand or speak out even if I was singled out. We've had this conversation before. Do you think if someone told you you'd have been something different? I ask as I take the pan off the heat. You, I hear her pointing at me over her shoulder, too bright for your own good. The microwave beeps and my arm shoots out to pull open the door and grab the ravioli. The burn on my hand itches. Yeah, it's probably hot, so I leave the door hanging open while I let the ravioli flop into the bowls. It's not much, I tell her as I pour in the beans and lay the 2 bowls on the table, but it's hot, Kendrick says, digging her spoon into the middle of the smoking mass and gulping down a mouthful. The day I'm too good for hot beans is the day I'm too good for living. So, I blow on my meal. I'm not as brave as she is. What was the job this time? Nothing special. She almost spits as she snaps up. Another mouthful of orange sauce dribbles down her sharp chin. A haunting, actually. Her laugh sounds like the bark you hear from a car that won't start. I needed some special ammo, and like always, the client thought it was smart to lie about this and that. Totally in denial. She levels her dripping spoon at me. Oh, what, me? But I've never done anything wrong. I'm just being haunted for no reason. She laughs again, and this time I join in, almost spilling my ravioli. Half the rich bastards in this country have a murdered mistress buried somewhere, usually under the Victorian Conservatory. I look down at my food as I laugh over another mouthful, and my eyes come upon Kendrick staring at the scar on my hand. Still hurts? She asks. Yeah, I can't help but hide it under the table. Sometimes. It's kind of a bad reminder. It should be a good one, really. If I hadn't gotten that scar, I'd never would have met Kendrick, and I'd probably be living in a cult compound somewhere. Which reminds me, I saw this crazy moon before you got here. Define crazy, Kendrick says as she slurps down another mouthful of mostly beans. Well, it was really big. I hold out my arms, and it was weird, like it had a big ring around it, almost like I was seeing it through dirty glass or something. Aye, that sounds crazy, right enough. Kendrick rolls her spoon around the empty bowl in front of her. I'm sure there's a name for that and all. Full moon tonight, in fact. Yeah, think so. I nod as she raises the bowl and sucks down what's left of the sauce like a soup. End of the month, Kendrick huffs as she drops the bowl back into the table. Yeah, I guess. She's running a hand through her short silver hair, leaning back in her chair and looking up at the ceiling. I can see she's smiling about something. Did I forget something? Aye, you did, Kendrick says, getting to her feet and dropping both our empty bowls in the sink. Last chance. Oh, my leg starts jumping up and down again as I close my eyes trying to think. I made sure the store was closed, hung the sign, vacuumed. I definitely set up the cat food, so... I don't know. It's almost a sob, just barely under control. I did everything. I'm really sorry, but... It's your birthday. Kendrick starts to shake her head, a smile spreading into the shadowy depths around her mouth. I shouldn't have had you on like that, she says as she sits down. You'd think I'd have learned, she shrugs. Slow learner. Oh. My leg stops. I flatten my hands against the table and try to breathe. don't apologize. She japs her finger at me. I brought you a present. Kendrick taps the lid of the little wooden box on the table. Wasn't easy to get, but if you don't want it, just say the word. She spreads her hands in surrender. We don't always understand each other, after all. What? It doesn't feel it, but this is normal, right? Presents on your birthday? I actually don't know what the date is. What is it? Closer. She draws me in, hanging over the box as she lifts the lid with both hands. And don't touch. Oh, okay. I don't realize what I'm doing, but both my hands are creeping forward and my palm itches. More than normal. The inside of the box is so not Kendrick. It's all purple velvet, a little rough, a little old, and the wood is carved with tiny pictures of dragons, trees, and snakes. All kinds of stuff too tiny for me to make out. Is it a jewel? No. My fingers creep around the edge of the box, skim the velvet, and I pull them back, trying to wring the paint out. Careful, Kendrick says. You didn't get burned, did you? No, don't think so. I look down at my finger just to be sure, but it's fine. It didn't hurt. I just didn't expect... The heat? She asks. Albrecht used to say it was like holding a little piece of hell. Albrecht? I sound stupid. My brain's running on autopilot. Is this what I think it is? You said... I've said a lot over the years. Kendrick folds her arms. And most of it was bollocks. His family didn't like it, but he left this thing, a spark I think it's called, to me, in his will. You never talk about it, but I've seen what's left of his staff up on your wall. And you did well with that book of basics I loaned you. This is the thing. I kind of point at it, like a toddler at a zoo. The thing that makes you a pyromancer. Aye, that's right, Kendrick smiles. And you want me to... I want you to do what you want to do, she explains. But not a lot of people are suited to magic like this. Albrecht spent a good part of his life, built his legacy, even on trying to stop it from dying out. It could be a good fit for you, and you've earned some responsibility. It flickers like the little flash of yellow and orange on the end of a sparkler, but trapped in amber. My whole body jerks back. I don't think I can't sleep on it. Kendrick pats me on the shoulder, and the tension in her face turns into a widening smile. It's a big decision, and this thing's not going anywhere. Yeah, okay. I nod as she lowers the lid back onto the box. I'm free all week, she says as she yawns and stretches. We'll talk, play some board games. You don't have any more schoolwork, right? All done for this month, I tell her as she walks past me. My eyes are fixed on the box now under her arm. We wander through the storefront, watching as the metal barrier I made her buy shreds approaching cars' headlights. Does she miss the break-ins the way she said she would? Good night, Kendrick says, maybe a little louder than she has to. She sleeps on an old couch in what used to be the guest room. Yeah, she's closed the door by the time my voice catches up with my brain. Good night.